Cheryl, Rob, state leaders touted legalization as a chance to repair the damage done to communities of color hardest hit by marijuana convictions. But has that actually happened? I brought our analysis to state leaders who tell me they are working to level the marijuana playing field.
Thank you so much for being here.
Tiffany Hightower and Kareem Kenyatta still can't believe that they are part owners of one of Illinois' newest marijuana dispensaries.
No one would have thought that this would be a moment in time where we could really look at being owners.
There are a total of 118 dispensaries in the state. Starbuds is one of them, and it's majority black owned.
And really look at creating this space to increase generational wealth in something that had been so criminalized previously.
It's stories like this that the state hopes will inspire other people of color interested in the marijuana industry. But analysis by the ABC7 data team shows that Illinois' efforts to make the cannabis industry more equitable may be falling short. In 2022, black people made up only 1% of majority dispensary owners. Hispanic majority owners were also 1%. 88% of dispensaries are white majority owned. The remaining dispensaries are majority owned by people of 2 or more or other races. Erin Johnson oversees marijuana operations for the entire state of Illinois. She says her office is working to level the playing field.
Black and brown communities are over-policed, have been over-policed, and have been disproportionately affected by the war on drugs. And so part of the reason that the social equity program exists is really to make sure that we can right those wrongs.
The state's social equity program provides cannabis licenses to applicants who have lived in a low-income area for 5 of the last 10 years, have an arrest or marijuana conviction that is eligible for expungement, employs more than 10 people who reside in an area with higher rates of people incarcerated for marijuana charges. Johnson says of the 192 conditional social equity licenses that were awarded in July, 40% of those are majority black owned.
That's what the challenge is. This is a money-intensive industry.
Eric Ice Gibson is the co-founder of the 1937 Group, an organization that promotes equity and inclusion in the cannabis industry. He says of the 192 conditional social equity licenses that have been granted, only 8 social equity dispensaries have actually opened. Not having enough money can be an obstacle.
And now asking them to have a network of individuals that have multiple millions of dollars. And that's just not something that most of us have access to. The law says that from the moment you win the license, you have 180 days to be operational. I think that absolutely needs to change.
Johnson says to remove barriers some owners may face, the state offers a direct forgivable loans program.
There's always room for improvement. We know that, we recognize that, but I think we are definitely, without a doubt, the most diverse cannabis industry in the country. And we know that other states are using our system as a model.
Meanwhile, Hightower and Kenyatta are basking in the glory as the new owners of Starbuds, hoping to be an example for future black owners in cannabis.
I think a big part of this is showing people that it is possible.
Illinois is still accepting applications for the 55 social equity cannabis dispensary licenses. They have 55 more, and the deadline has actually been extended to Friday, March 3rd, so that is next Friday. Now, the state says it is working to expand the outreach for people of color, black and brown communities, so that they know how to apply, explaining the application process, and that those loans that we mentioned in our story, we also have information on that. They want to expose more people of color to know about those loans that the state provides. But yeah, a lot of people, critics, they still argue that the state has to do more to make sure that they are leveling the playing field for people of color.
The data shows that progress is slow.
Right.
It needs to improve.
Yeah. Getting the dispensaries open is really the key thing there. Getting them open continues to be a challenge.
Watch breaking news on YouTube. Subscribe to ABC7 Chicago Eyewitness News.